Hi guys, welcome back to Train Simulator 2016, and we're going to drive in career mode, and we're going to go to the East Coast Main Line, London Peterborough, and we're going to choose a yellow difficulty run, which is 55 minutes, southbound to King's Cross. So following the gradual introduction into service, the Class 801 is now finding work on many services to the northeast of England and into Scotland. This evening you're driving a service from Peterborough to London that started at Newcastle earlier today. Okay, so we're going Peterborough to London, so let's get that started up. Usual loading screen, so we'll just wait a few seconds for it to load. Hopefully shouldn't take too long to load. Probably see a couple of other splash screens advertising DLCs, and then it should load up. So there's the BR Class 40 that's out now. There's a large number of trains and routes in the shop that you can buy for this game, and a lot of them are 40-50% off at the moment in the Lunar New Year sale. So a good time to have a look and see what you fancy, really. That looks quite nice, scenery in the background there, I've got to say. Okay, so there's our train, the 801, Hitachi Class 801, very nice train. Okay, so you're currently at Peterborough awaiting your departure time. Release the doors to allow passengers to board before driving the service to London King's Cross, calling at Stevenage along the way. So we'll open the doors, and in front of us is the famous Blue Bridge at Peterborough. I know that well. So let's just have a look and see. Okay, don't seem to be many people getting on at the moment, but maybe they will. So let's go back inside. We'll just acknowledge that because we put the reverser into forwards. And we have a combined brake and throttle on this one by the look of it. So no separate brake lever in this case. Have a look inside the train. It doesn't look like we can spin round far enough to see any passengers in the train, but it does look like a very nice train, I have to say. And there's another train coming into Peterborough here. Come up from London, where we're going to be headed to. So we're waiting for our assigned time to leave. Our signal has gone green in front of us, so we're all ready to go in a 30-mile-an-hour limit, but that's dropping to 25, so probably best we don't exceed 25 initially. So off we go, and we just got 250 points there. Very quiet trains these, they're really nice. I must admit I really like this train. So we're coming up on the 25, so let's not go beyond that really, because there's not much point going up to 30 if we've got to drop to 25 immediately afterwards. Another train coming in, Peterborough, quite a busy station. A lot of trains go through Peterborough heading north to Leeds and Newcastle and places like that, having come out of King's Cross. So it is quite a busy station, Peterborough. Recently been redeveloped actually, so a lot of it's all brand spanking new there at the moment. Certainly better than it used to be, I think. And expanded capacity a bit, adding a couple of extra platforms or so, because as I say, it is quite busy. Okay, so we're in 105 limit now and coming towards 115. So quite fast line, and I don't think we stop until Stevenage. Let's just check. So we go via Sandy, pick up passengers from Stevenage, and then King's Cross. So that's basically it. So it's going to be pretty much fairly fast run, hopefully. But given that this is a yellow difficulty run, one assumes there's going to be something thrown in to cause a bit of a problem somewhere. Possibly a spanner in the works somewhere, so we'll see. You see, it's quite fast. We're not hanging about in 115 limit, so green signal there, so we're fine. So we need to go via Sandy up fast. We're speeding slightly there, it's better. So Sandy is in Bedfordshire, near Biggleswade. So two towns very near each other. Not a tremendous distance from Peterborough. Probably the other side of Huntingdon. I think we have to go through Huntingdon first, possibly. So Huntingdon is sort of between Cambridge and Peterborough. And Sandy and Biggleswade are sort of a bit in the opposite direction, but not a million miles apart, so it's very possible that we'll go through Huntingdon and then possibly via Sandy area. We're coming to 100-mile-an-hour speed limit, so we need to be shutting down. I don't think that's emergency brake setting, but okay. Only 2 points, so let's not worry too much about it. So there was a warning board there at the side of the track telling us we're coming to this 100-mile-an-hour limit. So we'll try and stick around 100. Looks like we're going to be quite early at the moment. We're heading for being a good couple of minutes or so early at the Sandy up fast, where we've got to go via. Not stopping there, just go straight through it. Our first stop is Stevenage. In fact, it's the only stop before King's Cross, so not a route with a lot of stops on it. Let's see what we get. Okay, so we're in 105 now. So we're just going to keep our speed around about that sort of area. Coming into 125 limit. So all there. So there's a crossing there, so that's why it was asking us to sound the horn. Train coming the other way, one of the older trains that run on this line. The 801 is obviously a fairly new train. Okay, another crossing coming up by the look of it. The way you hear the noise from the crossing and the barriers and that's quite clever. Okay, so this Sandy up fast we need to go by is still 24 miles away. So it's probably going to take about another 10 minutes to get there. Perhaps a bit more. It's quite a nice day. Lots of blue sky. Bit of sunshine. Never a bad thing. Now there was a warning board there of a lower speed limit, but I haven't seen it on the scrolling display at the bottom, but I'm a bit concerned that we're heading for a much lower speed limit. I don't think we are actually. I think maybe that was on another line or something. Let's see. We'll soon find out. Yeah, I think the 70 was off to the left there. I think that's what I saw. So I'm going to stay up near the 125 because it looks like that's not affected at the moment. So we can stay getting on towards 125. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Bit of a dry throat. Okay, so we're coming up to about 120 mile an hour in 125 limit. So I'm going to start reducing the acceleration a little bit because otherwise we'll be potentially going over. So another tone from the warning system indicating that the signal is green. Interestingly, it said speeding then, but it didn't look like I was speeding. I was doing 124 in 125 limit, but there you go. So we are scheduled. Looks like we're going to be about 3 minutes early as an 801 going in the opposite direction at Sandy up fast, so I'm not going to worry too much about staying at 125 because we have time in hand. I know it's still 20 miles away, but so that we don't risk losing points for speeding, I'm not going to worry about staying right on the speed limit, to be honest. We do need to keep an eye out for signals in case we come across any double yellows or anything, because you know this is a medium difficulty run, so I would assume there's going to be something going on that's going to slow us down and perhaps cause us some issues. We'll see. Green at the moment, so no obvious sign of anything at the moment. Whistleboard again for another crossing. Here it comes. Okay, so I can't really see anything at the moment that is an issue, so one wonders if it's further down near the line near King's Cross that we're going to get something that explains why this is yellow rather than green and medium rather than easy difficulty. We'll see. So again, green signal. We heard the tone from the warning system. If there's anything other than green, we'll have to acknowledge this device over here. That will sound an alarm and we'll need to click on it to acknowledge that. If we don't, emergency brakes will come into force, which means we'll lose lots and lots of points and the train will run to a halt and we'll need to reset and start off again. So we really don't want that. So it's important to acknowledge any warnings as soon as they appear, but at the moment all the signals are green, so we're okay as far as that goes. So it does look like a nice day, quite a lot of blue sky. White clouds, very broken, so no obvious sign that it's going to be anything other than a very nice day. And it's 8:17 in the evening and there's no sign of it getting dark, so one would assume this is very possibly a summer's day. I'm not sure where that station was, but it could possibly have been Huntingdon. But we are still 14 miles from Sandy up fast, where we go via. And we'll go straight through there and head down to Stevenage, which is the only stop before we then go to King's Cross. So we're coming towards 120 mile an hour limit now. So I'm just going to take off the acceleration and let it coast, and I should lose that speed. There we go, we're down to 120 now. So that 120 mile an hour limit's not going to be an issue for us. I always get a little nervous when a run seems as straightforward as this, because it usually means something's going to happen. There's going to be a problem somewhere, I would assume. But we'll see. We'll see. So we're in this 120 mile an hour limit. There's another crossing coming up by the look of things. Yep, another one with the sounds on it you can hear. This is really quite good. We can see the river next to us now. That river running up Huntingdon Peterborough way, that must be the Ouse, I would assume. I'm not sure what else it could be. The Ouse runs through Peterborough. Cambridge, it would be the River Cam, C-A-M, hence Cam Bridge, Cambridge. But Peterborough is on the Ouse, so that could well be the River Ouse running up there. There are two Ouse, spelled O-U-S-E, Great Ouse and Little Ouse, but it's the Great Ouse that runs through Peterborough. So it looks like we're back into 125 limit now. So we can accelerate up to that. We're still heading to be three and a half minutes ahead of schedule when we reach Sandy Up Fast. So time doesn't seem to be a problem to us either at the moment. Okay, warning of a lower speed limit, but that's on that track to the left. That's not going to affect us. Again, single tone green signal. So late evening sunshine we've got here on the rails between Peterborough and London. So nice late evening sunshine. And we're now 7 miles from Sandy Up Fast in this go via. So hopefully we will be getting there fairly soon. ETA suggests about another 5 minutes. We're only 6 miles away. I'm doing 120 mile an hour. I thought we'd do that in about 3 minutes, so we'll see. The Peterborough to London line is so much faster since electrification, of course. There's a diesel going the other way as soon as I say that, but the line was electrified a few years back, and it's really made a difference. You can get Peterborough to King's Cross in under an hour on the faster trains like this one. Obviously one stopping at every station along the way will take a bit longer. It was about an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes I think, the real stoppers. Still not bad. A lot of people do commute into work in London from Peterborough and Cambridge and areas like that. Certainly the faster rail services have sort of expanded commute about and moved it out further, so as the trains get faster, then people commute from further out, obviously. I did used to commute to London every day myself. Initially from Cambridge, then from when I lived in Oxfordshire, and also from Peterborough. So I've experienced the commuter run into London on a daily basis. That's a number of years back now. So about 2.5 miles now to the go via Sandy instruction. You can hear the sounds of the crossing again. The barriers are down and makes that sound so that cars do not cross whilst there is a train approaching. So 45-mile-an-hour limit on that line to the left of us, but that won't affect us. And here we are coming up now on the Sandy, on Sandy up fast, and we are about 5.5 minutes early, it seems. If we're really going to be 5.5 minutes early when we reach Stevenage, then we're going to be sitting there for quite some time, so I'm not worrying about sticking right at the limit or anything like that. Doesn't make for great video watching, I know, when you're sitting at a station for a long time. We just got a bonus of 250 for going through that Sandy up fast area, and we're now 16 miles from Stevenage platform 2. So I'm basically just going to let it coast most of the way there. We're doing Stevenage 2036 and our ETA currently is 2034. So we're going to be about now a minute and a half early, I think. Somewhere around that. So as long as we're not going to be like 5 minutes early or something, then I guess not too bad. We can probably live with a minute and a half of sitting at Stevenage. Another crossing here. So you can see there's obviously a slower line either side, and then these two lines down the middle, one in either direction of the fast lines. And that's where we are. Hence that go via Sandy up fast, because we were on the fast line through there. So another station here that we're not stopping at. Number 801 going in the opposite direction. See what I mean by being on the fast tracks both directions. 801's running down these central faster tracks. So about 12.5 miles now to Stevenage. Stevenage is a fairly large town. I don't think it's classed as a city, I'm not sure. But in Hertfordshire, so north of Hatfield and Welwyn Garden City, areas like that, and just south of Hitchin and Letchworth. So I've worked in Stevenage at one point. There's quite a few technology companies are based in Stevenage, or at least were, as far as I know they still are. There's quite a famous, very large Royal Mail sorting office there, Mail Centre as Royal Mail call them, right next to the railway line. So when we do pull out of Stevenage after our stop, you may well see the Royal Mail building on our left. and just after that is the Roaring Meg, as it's known, retail park. Quite a large shopping park there, very popular in Stevenage. So we're still looking to be about a minute and a half early at Stevenage, I think, so not making too much of an effort to travel right at 125 miles an hour, because we're going to be a minute and a half early. It's probably not necessary. We've got a few more dark clouds overhead now. As we're getting nearer London, there's a bit more cloud about, and obviously we're getting darker. We're now at, what, 8:30 in the evening. So it must be sort of summer to still be light at this time in the evening. I'm not sure quite how long it's going to remain light, but summer evenings in the UK, it can be light till about 10 o'clock at night. It's about the longest day. Obviously why you get much warmer temperatures at that time of year, because the sun is out for that much longer. And prevailing winds at that time of year tend to be southerlies coming off the much warmer continent. So it usually helps keep our weather quite nice in the summer. Being as far north as the UK is, it is quite prone to thunderstorms after we do get those hot days. It's always said the classic definition of a British summer is 2 hot days and a thunderstorm. So there you go. So where are we now? We're 6.5 miles from Stevenage. So looks like we're going to be there around 20:34. So about 2 minutes early potentially. But then I am letting our speed drop a bit at the moment, so we might find that it ends up being near a minute and a half early or so. I just don't want to be sitting too long at the station with you guys, because you don't want to be sitting there watching a video of a stationary train for too long, I appreciate. So through another platform we're not stopping at. Could well be Hitchin, Letchworth sort of area, and we're heading into Stevenage. So we're down to about 4 miles out now. No change in the speed limit coming that I can see, so we are going to need to think about slowing down soon anyway, doing 100 miles an hour. It'll take a little while to slow down, but these 801s pick up speed and slow down very quickly. Obviously very efficient electric trains. Manufactured by Hitachi, and I didn't even know Hitachi manufactured trains, but apparently they do. So there you go. Japanese company, of course, Hitachi. More famous for consumer electronics, I would say, like audio systems and TVs and things of that nature. As I say, I didn't know they made trains as well. It's obviously another arm of the Hitachi brand. So we're coming down to about 2 minutes out from Stevenage now. So I'm going to put us on some gentle braking and just let our speed slow. We're also going slightly uphill. That's so slight it's not really going to matter. It's a 1 in 200 incline. So, and there's Stevenage now coming on to the scrolling display. So going to keep slowing down. We're about 1.5 miles out. And it does look like we're going to be roughly a minute and a half early, I think. Very quiet train this, you can hardly hear it's running at all. Obviously hear the wheels going across the the points and so on, but the actual sound of the engines of the train is extremely quiet. Hope the passengers like it. Certainly seems very nice. Can't see they'd have much to complain about with this train. So we're not far outside Stevenage now. About half a mile to go, so we're coming into the platform now, so we should see it any moment. I think that's the Stevenage Arts Centre to our left there. That's well modelled. I've seen that building many a time from the trains, so I know that's exactly how it looks. And assuming the industry has all been modelled correctly, as I say, we should see the Royal Mail building as we leave Stevenage in a little while, and we'll be heading down past Nebworth on our way to King's Cross. The bridge at Stevenage, that looks pretty accurate to me as well. So this is definitely platform 2. So I'm just going to run forward a little bit. We've got like 7 cars behind us, so we should be, including the engine of course, something like an 8-car stop. So looking to see if I can see any car stop signs to give us some idea how far down we need to be. I think that's 6 there, so I'd imagine around here should be fine. So I'm going to apply the brakes and we'll stop here. Okay, so we'll open the doors. A few people getting off, a few people getting on. You get the sound effects of a lot of chatter around the stations. So let's hop back inside, and we're all ready to go as soon as time is right, and the guard closes the doors and then gives us the signal to leave. Well, a couple of short buzzes you hear. And that's the guard saying, okay, let's get on our way. That's the doors closing. Okay, I didn't actually hear the signal from the guard, but I suspect it was at the same time the doors were actually closing, so we didn't quite hear that sound, but not to worry. Off we go. Now I think if you look to the left along here is where we will see the Royal Mail building, and shortly afterwards the Royal Meg Retail Park. Not exactly sure exactly where the Royal Mail building is, but I know it's along here on the left somewhere. We probably may not see it because there's a lot of trees there, so it's very possible it's obscured by the trees. Obviously the trees have grown and they're possibly obscuring the Royal Mail building from view, and Royal Meg. The Royal Meg Retail Park is sort of just over there on the Nebworth side of Stevenage, so quite a popular shopping area. And now we're heading down to King's Cross. No more stops, barring any problems. We're obviously going faster than that train, so overtaking him. And I suspect that's a slower train even, stopping at a lot more stations than we are, so we will certainly leave him behind. We're now up to about 125 again, so Well, we're just about going to be on time reaching King's Cross, where we are heading for platform 0. Unusual to have a platform 0, normally they just start at 1, but King's Cross has a platform 0. So again, single tone, green light. We're coming towards the 115 limit now, so I'm going to start losing speed a little bit. It's always good to keep an eye out down here for when you see the next speed limit coming up. You'll often see warning triangle signs at the side of the track to warn you as well, but that scrolling display at the bottom is very useful. There's the warning board for the 115. Still pretty fast line, 115. It's not bad at all. 23 miles to King's Cross. So we're in the 115 limit now. And still pretty much on time by the look of things. Slight downslope now, so we need to be a bit careful that we don't get too close to the limit, because we could easily end up speeding because of the picking up a bit of speed on the downslope. Hopefully not. I'm not sure if those clouds are just black clouds over this area or whether it's just because we're getting darker. I'm going to turn our lights on a bit just in case. There's no sign of actual rain as yet, so let's hope it stays dry. Sure, at times I miss the odd whistle board and don't sound the horn, but you don't actually get penalised in the game for not sounding your horn. There are times when I've actually seen penalties for incorrect use of the horn, so perhaps it was safer just not doing it at all. As I say, I don't think it's going to fine you any points. I've not seen anything yet that has said you didn't sound your horn when you should have done, so I'm going to take some points off you. In terms of realism and doing what real train drivers do, I think if you do see a whistle board you should sound your horn. I do try to on most of them. I might miss the odd one, as I say, but generally try to do it. The other thing you have to bear in mind in terms of realism is that train drivers will drive the same route for a fair time, so they obviously get used to the route, where the speed limits are and all that sort of thing. So although the signs are there at the side of the track, they probably don't need them after a few runs because they know only too well what the speed limits are down their track, the service that they're driving. There's no substitute for experience, really. So 17.5 miles or so from King's Cross now. Still green signals all the way. I'm still thinking something's going to come up to get in our way though, because otherwise I can't see it would be a medium difficulty scenario. But we'll see, we'll see. Still green, that's that single tone for the green. Not had our alarm going off as yet for us to acknowledge it when the signal is anything other than green, so It's actually quite a nice run this, and as I say, I do like this train, very nice train, so fairly enjoyable drive. I think it's a drive you'd be a bit unlucky if you still got one of the old slower trains. Probably they all would like to pull this duty and get this nice 801 and very few stops and straight down to King's Cross. One going in the opposite direction. Hello. Really sort of 8 o'clock, almost 9 o'clock in the evening. It will be more people going home from London rather than going into London. It's very possible some people do come out of London to work, or might have had to go north for whatever reason, and are now heading back into London. Get home. Quite a late evening, 8:45 at night. Well, there you go. Oh, we're now coming up on a 100-mile-an-hour limit, so we need to start losing speed. And we're about 13 miles out of King's Cross. Below 100 already. There's a warning sign for the 100-mile-an-hour limit. So in terms of stations we're not stopping at, I guess that could be Potter's Bar, places like that. Old town in Hertfordshire. You've got Welwyn Garden City, Hatfield, places like that we will have either gone through or be going through on the way down into London. I think it's very possible we're past those now. We're only 11 miles out of London, so yeah, I'm sure we would have been past Hatfield and places like that a while back. Don't think we will have passed the Bounds Green service depot yet, and shortly after that, as you go into King's Cross, you actually pass the Arsenal football ground, the Emirates Stadium on the left. Probably going to be pretty difficult for us to see it given the speed we're doing and so on. I've sat on the train many a time having to queue to get into King's Cross and going much slower, and then you get a good view of it. On the other side of the tracks is Alexandra Palace, which I think we've probably passed by now, or if not very soon going to. It's basically up on a hill over there somewhere. A downhill stretch now, so I'm going to be careful about accelerating too much, because we're likely to pick up speed very possibly without doing anything, because we are on a downhill stretch of track. So although we do seem to be losing speed, so it's not causing us to get too close to the limit at the moment. So I'll just keep us at 99 point odd. That'll be fine. We are looking to be a bit early, just over a minute early by the look of it, unless we get a hold up somewhere. It could well be signals on almost on the sort of last bit of the approaching to King's Cross. Once you get near the gasworks tunnel and the such like, there sometimes you get held up by signals there if you're having to wait for a train to come out of the platform or something like that. King's Cross is one of the major mainline stations in London. Very large car park on our left there, so I'm not quite sure whereabouts that is, but I think we're just about outskirts of London now. We're only 7 miles from King's Cross, so we're going to be pretty much sort of on the outskirts. Been a pretty good journey up until now, no major issues, and able to use the speed of the train fairly well. You can see we're coming to a 95 limit, so I've made sure we're already down at that sort of speed. I'm in that 95 limit now, so I'll try and sort of keep us around about 95. As I say, we are looking to be getting on towards 1.5 minutes early, so unless something is going to be thrown our way to cause us a problem, and perhaps that's why it's medium difficulty at the moment, doesn't look like it's much of a problem really, but as I say, we get close to King's Cross, it's possible we're going to have to wait and queue there for the platform to empty. Maybe that is what's going to happen. So we're coming to a 90, so I've just made sure I reduce our speed down to that sort of level, and we're about 4 miles out now. That could well be Bounds Green there. That looks a bit like the Bounds Green service depot to me, off to the left. If you're watching the earlier scenario that I completed in the 801, we actually started at Bounds Green, had to go down into King's Cross and then back up exactly the opposite way to what we've done today. Now we had an alarm there, I think that was a double yellow signal, so well, the next signal's on green, so maybe it was just the lower speed limit it was telling us about, but we are coming down to an 80 and then a 65, so I'm going to drop our speed really for the 65. We're below 80 already, so we won't have any problems with that one, and we're coming down to 65 now, so we're prepared for that one as well. And then there's a 60 a bit further along. It's under 65 now, so into the 80, and there's a warning board for the 65, so let's try and keep ourselves around about there, around about the 65 mile an hour mark. There's the 65, so we've just gone into the 65 limit, approaching a 60, then 45 and then 15, which will be around the gasworks tunnel as we go into King's Cross. So I said 45, yeah, 45, that would make sense. We've got to get through this 60 mile an hour limit and then to the 45. So you can always zoom like that if you need to have a look at signals further ahead, if you're not sure what they're on or something. You can always zoom in and have a look and confirm your suspicions. Still green at the moment. Had the single tone from the warning sensor again. So now into the 60, and we're comfortably below 60, and we're heading for the 45 limit, 1 mile out of King's Cross. So I'm going to reduce our speed down to 45 and let it keep gently decelerating, because we need to come down to that 15. Now I saw a number of red signals then, But it looks like our signal is that double yellow. So there we got the warning, because it's not green. So we've got a double yellow, then a single yellow, and the red will actually be at the end of the platform at King's Cross, which means it won't be a problem to us. But this one actually is single yellow. Well, I thought it was going to be double yellow. So that indicates the next signal could be red, and that may be an issue for us, which could be the wait at a red signal for the platform to clear at King's Cross for us to go in. So I suspected that could possibly be a problem, and it looks like it might be. You can hear how quiet this train is. Even when the brakes on, doesn't exactly make that much noise. So the question is this next signal going to be red? Or are we going to be okay? So there's an 801 heading in the opposite direction. But we're now in what I think is the gasworks tunnel as we come into King's Cross. 15-mile-an-hour limit. Can we see the signal to see what we're on? Don't think I can at the moment. Platform 0 you can see is off to the left a bit. I can't actually see any issues with signal at this point. So it looks like we can go straight into platform 0, I think. So here we go, platform 0 is going to be the extreme left as we look. So we're heading across towards that track. We are a little bit early. About the minute and a half early that I predicted. There's another 801 train over there, and an older style train sitting there, probably heading, well, Leeds, a lot of services like that run out of King's Cross on the East Coast main line up towards Newcastle area and even into Scotland. East Coast main line is a very important line in the UK, as is the West Coast main line on the other side. So here we are, we're at King's Cross. So that's turned out to be a fairly straightforward run, I would say. I know we did have a little bit of speeding earlier on, which cost me some points. But we're on 705 and we're not going to be late here, so hopefully maybe 250 more points, take us to 955 would be good. Hello madam, walking up the platform. So there you can see the board at the end, which confirms it's platform 0, so we're in the right place. Okay, so we'll just put a little bit closer to the end and we'll brake there, and that will do us. So we'll open the doors. There we go, there's the doors opening. I don't actually see many people getting off. Don't know where they've all gone. Looks like he wants to get on. I didn't see people getting off, which seems a bit strange. Certainly thought we had some passengers on our train, but there you go. Maybe they all got off at Stevenage or something. It's quite a long train, You see, it takes up the vast majority of the platform. It is a very attractive looking train, I think. So this is King's Cross Station. King's Cross, I believe, has about 15, 16 platforms altogether, something like that. Sort of 1 to 8, or maybe 1 to 12 now, I think, on one side of the station. Oh, here we go. Look, well done, driver. You managed to complete all your tasks successfully this evening. You can now take a well-earned rest. So let's get our debrief. We did go to 955 points. Hopefully silver or gold. There we go, gold medal. So couldn't do much better than that, really. So that's fine. So I will see you again soon when we'll have a look at some more career mode runs, possibly another one on this line, and then perhaps look around for maybe a different line. So see you soon, guys. Take care. Bye now.